TV 10 and 55 Focus continues.
And welcome back. I'm here with our guest, George Maragos. He is the Nassau County Comptroller. Been in the office 2 years now, you say?
That's correct.
Okay, and clearly you're looking to run again in this office?
We'll see what happens down the road.
Well, I know that you've also expressed interest in possibly a Senate seat. Is that right? U.S. Senate?
Yes, I have.
Where does that candidacy stand right now? Is that a declared candidacy?
Well, we have filed with the Federal Electoral Commission as a candidate, and we have actually been campaigning upstate, exploring the possibility of running in 2012 against Gillibrand.
Well, that's a pretty quiet campaign. I think I heard rumors about it in some newspaper, columns where they speculate about various people. But so that's officially. I mean, you're officially
yes, and
filed
it's important, to separate my responsibilities, and I've been very careful to make sure that my responsibilities are as controller are not in any way affected.
So that's it's handled separately?
That's correct.
So have you done any campaigning for that job yet?
Upstate, primarily
and then that's
upstate.
done on your own time.
That's
separate
correct.
from your job.
That's correct.
And all expenses are separate
that's
too,
correct.
right?
Absolutely.
And then
by law, they have to be separate.
Yeah,
as
and that's
you know.
like you can't make any mistakes with that.
Right.
And being a controller, but you should be able to do that though because of your expertise and knowing how to separate out finances.
Oh, absolutely. And the reason I'm doing it is because the source of a lot of our problems now are in Washington. As I indicated to you, at the beginning of this conversation, the major source of our county revenue is the sales tax, which is dependent on our economy, and our economy is not doing well. We have a 9.1% unemployment, probably with underemployment about 20%. That's affecting our local economy. It's affecting a lot of people, in this county and throughout the state and the country. And we have people in Washington that are not business people. They have no accomplishments. They're good at fighting, as we see, with one another, but accomplishing little to solve either a debt crisis or an unemployment crisis.
Well, the Kirsten Gillibrand seat is the one that you're
That's
interested
correct.
in. And of course, her whole appointment controversial in its own right, and her popularity has fallen according to poll numbers, and poll
That's
numbers
correct.
go up and down. We know that she's had wild swings, in fact, both good and bad. When is her term due?
2012.
So it's pretty
She
soon.
needs to run again, exactly.
So when do you? Have they chosen a Republican nominee yet? I don't believe.
No,
that
I
they
think
have, right?
no, they have not. The convention, I believe, is going to be in April or May.
Are you aware of any other candidates for the position?
Not yet, but I'm sure there'll be other candidates that will jump in the ring. What we're trying to do is raise the bar for anybody else to come in.
So at this point, it's your intent to pursue that seat. No?
Absolutely.
You're going to need a lot of money, I would think. That's a Senate seat. You got to do a lot of advertising. Are you already in the process of raising funds?
No, we're not going to raise any funds until I get the nomination. So up until that point, I will self-fund the campaign.
Do you have any backing from anybody in particular?
No, it'll be my own funds.
Okay. No, I mean any group that's already come out, anybody that's supported you, that you're counting on for support?
No, and I'm actually not. I'm shying away from groups or or a big name endorsement. I want to run a grassroots campaign.
You're going to do it differently?
Absolutely.
What don't you like about the current system? I would imagine there must be something if you intend to do a grassroots campaign.
Well, as you mentioned, most candidates try to raise a lot of money before they even declare that they are candidates. And so they become beholden to the special interest groups, to corporate interests, and that's what's really affecting negatively our politics today. And I want to change that.
Do you think Senator Schumer is a good senator?
I'm not going to comment on that.
What about Senator Gillibrand?
I think Senator Gillibrand hasn't performed for New York, hasn't delivered. Nobody knows what she stands for. We've had unemployment crisis, debt crisis, 3 wars, and nobody knows where she stands.
What would you stand for if you were the senator of New York?
Well, I would stand that we need to make our economy competitive to substantially, significantly reduce the unemployment. I'm about bringing our troops home. Their mission is done overseas.
Would you bring tariffs against the Chinese for unfair trade practices?
Well, I think we need a comprehensive strategy against the Chinese. We need to end their favored treatment as a developing country. We need to
They're
have
developed.
Right, they're very developed. They're the second biggest economy now behind ours. We have to have reciprocal arrangements. If you're going to export to China, you need to have a local Chinese partner. We don't have that requirement for the Chinese importing into the U.S.
We got 20 seconds. They got an even bigger deficit in Washington. George, you ready for that? You'd take that on? You would be a conservative that way?
Oh, absolutely.
We got 30 seconds.
I am a conservative. I'm a fiscal conservative and a social conservative.
All right. Well, we heard all about Nassau County and the first shots fired in what will be an apparent candidacy for U.S. Senate come next year. We thank you for joining us. George Maragos, Nassau County Comptroller.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you for being there. I'm Richard Rose. Be sure to join us next week for yet another edition of Focus.